In this presentation, I would like to take a look at how to remove the sump cover from your Honda GC series engine. Before we jump into the lab, let's take a look at the expectations. Very similar as our last presentation. You will remove the 8 10mm bolts on the sump cover. You're going to need probably a deep well socket and or an extension to get that finished up. You're going to have me break the seal. In other words, it's going to need a pry bar and a hammer. Okay, we only got one of those. So bring your engine up, let's get that taken care of. You're going to complete the remainder of the scrape and peel activity. When the scrape and peel activity is finished up, the RTV is removed from the valve cover sealing area on the jug, the sump cover, and then the contact area for the sump cover on the cylinder block or the jug, whichever you prefer to call it. Once those 4 areas are cleaned up, you can have an instructor check for those being completed. Please make sure your parts are out at your station before you have me come over to sign off. Let's take a look at the engine. To complete the sump cover removal, we need to take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 and 8. So if you turn the engine over, you can kind of see the additional bolts here on the side. So all 8 of those need to be removed, and then we will put a pry bar in this area here, and we will hit here with a hammer. So it's usually kind of a 2-person effort to make this work. So we'll see how this goes. These ones in here may be a little bit difficult to remove, but we want to make sure that they're removed so that we know that they are unthreaded all the way. Now that that is finished, we're simply going to stick a pry bar like such. I'm going to lift up, and you can hear how it broke loose. And then, here's where the challenge happens. We're going to take a hammer and we're going to hit right here. And that's usually where it gets a little more difficult. We can also hit right here. So hopefully our position stays the way that it should. And it didn't. Okay, I can feel it breaking loose, which is good. And there it's broke loose. So we should, at this time, simply be able to pull straight up on the sump cover. You'll need to continue the scrape and peel activity on the surface here and this surface here. You'll also notice there are 2, one here and one here, dowel pins. So we want to make sure that we can usually leave those in place, but usually they'll just remove with your fingers. We want to make sure that those 2 are actually accounted for during this cleaning process and that they're not lost. Lastly, you're going to notice there's a thrust washer, which is here. It is installed with the beveled end facing the timing belt. I'm going to go ahead and remove that thrust washer and put it in a safe place in my tote. I'm also going to clean up all the oil mess here so that it stays where it's at. This has been a look at how to remove the sump cover from your Honda GC series engine.